Welcome back, guys. James from Diskord again. Just going to run you through a couple of simple effects. Really, these are super simple, but it's more about the concept, and then you can, translate that into your own projects. The first one, what we've done, it's actually with both of these, keeping with the theme of the day, we've used presets on A.N.A. Because it's like, we need something that does like a white noise splash. Oh, well, there's a preset for that on A.N.A. Okay, well, we use that then. And then we needed a riser, and there was a preset for that on A.N.A. as well, so we just went for it. So this one is just a white noise sweep, nothing more, nothing less. But what that does is it kind of just gives a feeling of sort of space, and kind of it's a really hard to describe thing, because really what it's doing is adding that the missing element that you can't put your finger on what it is. That's what white noise, it fills out the gaps that you don't really even know are there. That makes no sense at all, does it? But again, it makes sense to me, and if it makes sense to you, then we're on the same wavelength. So really, we just use that to kind of where it feels like there needs to be something extra. So when you get into a breakdown, it can feel a little bit empty without a bit of white noise. But as soon as you add that white noise in, it feels like something's really happening. So, it's subtle, but it really does make quite a lot of difference using white noise and sweeps, and we've used it very basically in this tune, really just in each time it gets to the breakdown. So let me, I haven't done that. I'm so bad at this. So this is breakdown 2. So there's another one there, and then build 2, drop 2. So again, really what white noise is adding is that extra special sauce that you can't put your finger on what it is you need, but it needs to sound slightly bigger and fuller. So that's what white noise is doing here. And then obviously a riser does exactly what it says on the tin. It's like you need something to really build up the hype and the excitement towards the next section, and a riser is the perfect way to do that. Now, what we actually did with this one is it's just a one note. I think it's probably an F sharp, would make sense. No, it's a D. Okay, fine. So what we've done here is a way to get a really huge riser that goes from very low to very high is if you you put the bend range to 24, so that's 2 octaves, and then you draw kind of a middle range note, so that's a 3, so it's right in the middle of the keyboard. And then on the pitch bend, you start from right at the bottom and go all the way up to right to the top. So it starts out really, really, really super low, and then gets really, really, really super high. Again, this is not super advanced stuff, but it's more about, teaching you these little ideas, these little tricks that we use, that hopefully then you can translate into your own productions. So just getting a riser that goes from really low to really high quite quickly, it's just a great way to just really amp up the excitement towards whether it's towards a drop, whether it's towards a breakdown, whatever it might be. So then, there's a few of those just dotted about the tune, basically. So every time it needs to really hype up towards a drop or a breakdown or whatever it might be, we use one of these risers. So hear it here. What you'll notice is as well, there we stopped it before. Like sometimes you might leave it going all the way to the actual first beat of the drop, but what that'll do is you'll lose the impact of that vocal on its own there. So any rises, white noise, whatever it is you've got going up to the drop, make sure you stop them when you have that vocal edit, or that, you know, that vocal on its own before the drop, because it will then have so much more impact when it drops. So that's those, the white noise and the rises. Again, they're simple, super simple concepts that you can hopefully make your own, and because you can make a riser out of literally any noise, any synth patch you've got, you can make it into a riser. Just fling some pitch bend on it. So there's literally no limit to the sounds that you can use as risers. The other thing, it's not strictly FX, but it kind of fits into this category, is we've added some offbeat haze. And rather than just using like the standard, you can get, there's a million out there, like Lex Luger haze, and you know, there's sort of a bunch of sample packs that all, you know, and everyone uses the same haze. So rather than do that, I just recorded myself. It's not a super expensive mic. I think it was about 35 quid, the mic I used to do these. And so they may, on their own, they may not sound amazing, but in the mix they sound really great. And like an offbeat hey adds so much sort of, I'm going to have to use the word swag. It's not the kind of word I like using, but that's what it is. It is what it is. So it adds so much swag to the groove of the track. And so what I've done is I basically I hit record, and I recorded myself going, hey, for about 16 bars. Then I chopped it, or maybe, 16 bars or so. And I chopped it up, cut out all the ones I didn't like. So there weren't many I didn't like, because at the end of the day, it's a guy going, hey, there's not much you can not like. So, and then what I did was made 3 tracks. So these are all different hits hitting at different times, because I basically cut it up into 3 parts and then laid them over each other. So it's not the same haze happening at the same time, because if you do that, it will sound kind of weird and phasey. And then what I did was panned one to the left, one to the right, and then one in the middle, which I also have, what I've done is pitched it down a few semitones. So then when you put them all together, let me turn the effects off as well so you can actually hear what they sound like. When you put them all together, you get what sounds like a load of kind of a group of guys going hey, rather than just one little English studio nerd going hey. So it's kind of an illusion, really. And then just to kind of group everything together, kind of glue everything together so it sounds a bit more full. I've got a chamber reverb on there, but with a short decay. So that's just to give it a bit of room. A bit of saturation on there. Really all that's doing is it's just giving it a little bit more bite. And then we've just got a compressor on here, fairly aggressive. Probably doesn't need to be that aggressive, but that's really just to kind of squash it all together and make it sound like one sound, essentially. And what that's doing is also that's accentuating the low end. It really doesn't need all this rumble here, so I just put a low cut or a high pass, whatever you want to call it. So then in the mix, they sound like this. Really loud because I didn't turn them down. So there you go. That's the Haze. I think they add I'm going to say the word again. They do add a lot of swag to that beat. It just makes it flow so much better. So yeah, that's your effects. And in the next video, we are going to cover sidechaining. Super important to dance music. You'll be lucky to hear a dance track without sidechaining on these days. Not a complicated concept at all. So come back in the next one, and we're going to cover sidechaining.
If you like this course, why not head over to sonicacademy.com, where we have hundreds of complete track builds in every genre imaginable, including all the project files and samples. You'll also find tutorials on plugins and synths, mixing and mastering, over 250 tech tips, artist interviews, along with our award-winning plugins, samples and preset packs.